Hello, this is Ray Novak with Icom with Radios in Action. Today we're with Miss Olivia Wyatt, and I would love to quote Jimmy Buffett, a sailor of a sailor man.
So no one in my family is a sailor, but fun fact, Jimmy Buffett's keyboardist Buddha Utley was my dad's best friend growing up. And he didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. And my dad plays a lot of instruments, and he told him to learn how to play an instrument.
Well, did they ever find that lost shaker of salt?
I think it's still missing.
So this triggers the whole why. You're the first sailor in your family?
So what happened is after college, I studied photojournalism in Missouri, so I could drive there from Little Rock, which is where I'm originally from, Little Rock, Arkansas. And then I
Oh,
moved to
wait a
New
minute,
York.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Little Rock, Arkansas is probably one of the most landlocked places you can get. You do have Lake of the Ozarks, but really that doesn't make you want to sail, does it?
Well, we have a lot of lakes and we have rivers, but people do sail on the lakes there. I just didn't grow up sailing. And so after I graduated, I ended up moving to New York, and someone bought me sailing lessons for my birthday, and I already loved the sea, and I just fell madly in love with sailing. I mean, to the point of obsession.
So you got started because somebody bought you sailing lessons, and still that was probably in something very small. I know as a kid growing up, I received for a Christmas present a sea snark, and we had about a 5 acre pond, but I ran into more logs than anything.
Yeah, but that's so fun. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in northern Mississippi on a farm, so no, it was not fun because you had turtles, snapping turtles, and snakes,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
and very limited.
moccasins.
I spent more time moving the mainsail to create wind to go across that pond than I did anything else.
Well, it was still an adventure.
Yes, but tell us more about you. So you learned how to sail, and you said New York or Newark?
Well, actually, it was in Jersey. I started my American Sailing Association classes were in New Jersey because it just was more affordable over there. And it was the gift from my friend, right? And then I started crewing for boats, so I got really into it, and um, I was volunteering for deliveries and getting experience that way. And then I moved to California where I could sail more regularly, more year round. And I got all of my American Sailing Association. I did all of those courses, and I had access to boats that I could rent. And then from there, I also ended up getting my United States Coast Guard 50-ton captain's license. And then I bought Juniper, which is the boat I'm on now. And I have been sailing her. I'm in South Africa, but I started in California. And I've been sailing her abroad since 2019.
So Juniper is what?
She is a 34-foot toshing panda, and she's got a full keel, and she's cutter rigged. So she has a staysail between the head sail and the mainsail.
I picked up on two things that you said. One is that you're in South Africa right now. So
Yes.
while it's early morning here in the Seattle, Puget Sound area, it is nighttime there.
It is, well, the sun is still up, but it'll set soon. I guess, yeah, what time is it there?
It's
It's
7:31 a.m. here.
so it's 5:31 p.m. here.
Okay. All right. So not quite the beautiful sunset time. Are you in a port right now, or are you on sail?
I am in a port, so this coast is really challenging to sail. I don't know if you're familiar with it. They call it the Wild Coast. I'm on the eastern side of the Cape. I'm currently in Durban. I sailed down here from Richards Bay, which is the port just north of here, and it's about 100 nautical miles.
Okay.
And I've been here waiting on the right weather window because I need 3 days of northerly winds to get to the next port. And we've been having a lot of strong southerly winds. And why I can't go with the southerly winds is because there's this current. I'm in what's called the Mozambique Channel, and there's a current of like it can be up to 4 or 5 knots. It's like a river. And when you have the current flows from north to south. And so when you have the wind coming from the south, it just makes really massive standing waves and is very dangerous. So that's why. But also, I'm going south, and you can't sail the same direction that the wind is coming. I mean, you can, but it just takes a really long time. You're tacking, tacking, tacking. So.
Well, very, very interesting fact. I do a lot with the amateur radio side of Icom. And probably 12 or 13 years ago in October, a group of us went and did a ham radio activation in Mozambique, right on the coast. So I'm very familiar with that channel that you're talking about, going down the easterly side of South Africa.
Where in Mozambique were you? Because I stopped in some places along the way.
We didn't have a port where we were. It was kind of a resort area, although we were the only people there. And Shy Shy. It was very interesting. Everybody there was extremely friendly, but you could definitely see the economic difference, but just right over the border between South Africa and Mozambique. Everything looks pretty much the same, doesn't it, on the water?
It's true, but along the way here, because again, I've been kind of battling this current and those southerly winds since I left Madagascar, and so I did stop in 3 places in Mozambique on my way to wait for weather, and yeah, it's a very stark difference.
So while you were in Madagascar, what was the most incredible thing that you
Oh,
experienced?
I love I got goosebumps just talking about Madagascar. It is incredible. The way that they transport goods is by sailing, and they have those old wooden boats. Every day you see like hundreds of sailboats on the water, and life, it's really like stepping into a museum, like a living museum. I mean, I went to islands, well, just the way that people live, it's very beautiful. And they have like the hand crank, those old sewing machines that are hand cranked, and there's no electricity in a lot of places. And
And how do they
yeah.
carry the baskets of goods? I'm just curious because to see if it was the same as what we experienced in Mozambique.
Oh yeah, so the boats are similar. The rigs are like the sails are slightly different. But they're weaving baskets and then also making wooden crates.
What we experienced, and again, I keep thinking land-based, and you're not land-based. So we got to see women walking with batches
on,
of wood on their head,
on their heads. Yeah,
just walking, and I'm sitting there thinking, I have trouble going from the refrigerator to the table with a full glass of milk without spilling it. And here are these
yeah,
people just walking. They're moving their hands with these baskets and wood on top of their head.
exactly. It's the same in Madagascar. And I saw a woman, she had a tub on her head that was filled with bottles, and they were all filled with liquid, and they didn't have lids on them. And oh, sorry, my phone fell. If it was me, I would have spilled all of that within the first step, you
Well,
know?
case in point, right there, your phone decides it's going to flip out.
And this is a flamingo feather that was blocking the view just now. And this, I found that in Mozambique.
The other thing that I picked up that you mentioned earlier is you're talking in a singular description of what you're doing. So
I'm alone.
you've
Okay.
got a crew of how many?
The majority of my sailing has been I'm sorry, Ray. Um, it's not you. The majority of my sailing has been solo. Well, I decided that I wanted to sail to Hawaii or see if I could make it to Hawaii and from California. And but prior to that, I had sailed solo. I had only sailed solo for 6 hours on my boat or on any boat, and I had never sailed alone at night. So when I departed, it was a bit, it made my heart kind of jump all around. Because my first time alone at sea at night was on my way to Hawaii, and that was really scary. But I was just like, okay, see, just get through the night and see how you feel tomorrow. And then eventually I just got in the groove, and it became probably the most
Boy, talk
powerful
about jumping
experience.
into the deep end of the pool.
That's how you got to do it, right? Otherwise, you'll think about it too much and you won't ever jump.
One of the very interesting things, statistically, the majority of humans do not move or venture too far away from where they were born. And that was just one of your trips, right?
That was just one of my trips. And so, kind of, you asked, like, are you alone? And I am. And the majority of my trip has been alone. But after I got to Hawaii, I said, okay, I liked that. Let me see if I can get to French Polynesia. But I took two friends with me because that's a bit of a harder angle on the wind. After that, I went to Fiji solo, then Indonesia. And then in Indonesia, I had a small accident off the coast of Java. So I almost totally destroyed the boat. What happened is my head sail ripped, and it was like 45 knots. I was trying to get into an anchorage, which I should have just stayed offshore. My head sail ripped, my engine overheated. A tugboat came to kind of help me because I was going to end up on the rocks. And then the tug smashed into me. It went windward of me. So my boat just was almost completely ruined. From there, I made it to a little fishing village in Java, and I got a fisherman who's also a mechanic to hop on board, and he didn't speak English. So then I got a surfer who could speak English to come on board to translate, but he had never sailed before. But he was an amazing cook and really fun. And they went with me from Java to the border of Singapore, like the border of Indonesia and Singapore. And then from there, I had someone else hop on board, and another Indonesian sailor, and we got my boat to Thailand, and I rebuilt the boat in Thailand. But the reason why I had to take crew then was because I had no autopilot, and I had no self-steering wind vane, which are the things that allow me to sail solo. And so, yeah, for safety, I had to bring people on board for that one.
That sounds like an experience of a lifetime, and you've had several of these. Olivia, I don't know if you realize it or not, but statistically, you are an anomaly. When you take a look at how many of your classmates that you graduated high school from, that you grew up with, how many of them have even traveled outside the state, much less sail alone around the world?
Not many.
Not
Not many.
many? Not
No one has sailed around the world, and not many have like done anything super adventurous, you know.
So, I mean, it's incredible what you're doing. I see with what I do on the amateur radio side, a lot of STEM activity for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This is really focused to help empower young ladies and women to get more involved in these. And I
Yes,
mean, how many women have circumnavigated the world in a sailboat other than
I
yourself?
don't. So I don't know the number of. I know that only two American women have rounded the Great Capes, have sailed all by themselves. And so I want to be the third to complete that goal.
More power to you. And I know you mentioned earlier that you're waiting for the conditions to be just right. Don't let that drive and excitement put you in a dangerous position.
Thank you. I won't. I've been really careful on this wild coast, as they say.
Now, I am just curious because I know on some of the education channels that you can get on satellite and cable TV, they have a week-long Shark Week. Have
Uh-huh.
you experienced them while you've been sailing? Because you mentioned
Sharks.
Madagascar has a lot of great whites.
I have seen a lot of sharks, and a lot, mostly reef sharks. Like there's this part, an atoll in French Polynesia where I was anchored, and the sharks were like dogs. I mean, they were just everywhere. And those were the reef sharks. But then I also went shark diving in Fiji, and they chum the water, and I saw like bull sharks and tiger sharks. Yeah, and then I haven't seen any great whites. Knock on wood. And I've been surfing here, and they have shark nets to protect you for all the people in the water. And so there's shark nets like 1 nautical mile off the shore that keep us safe.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass for me.
I just don't get in if I'm the only one. You know, if nobody's in the water, I'm not going to be the only one out there.
In fact, when I was telling you about going to Mozambique, we were right there on the beach, and there was a lot of seashells, shark teeth, and things like that.
Yes,
I walked into the water until the top of my foot was covered.
that was it.
That was it. I was like, "No, I'm done. I've touched the
Right.
water. I know there's great whites out there, and no."
The trick is to not go in the water like during their feeding time. So you don't want to be in the water around sunrise or sunset because that's when they're actively looking for food. And
Well,
also, if you're fishing, be careful.
one of my favorite movies has dogs, animated dogs, with a collar that will translate for them. And I'm not going to walk to the edge of the water. Hey, are you guys full yet?
Which movie is that?
That was Pixar's Up.
I haven't seen it. Now I've
Uh,
got to watch it.
First 15 minutes is the saddest love story that you'll ever watch. And then the rest of it is what every young boy could ever imagine dogs to sound like. Well, thank you
Cool.
again for your time there, and look forward to doing more of these.
My message to everyone is like anything you dream of doing, you can do it. You know, don't let anything stop you. No one believed I could cross the ocean. I just had to believe in myself. I had next to no money in my account when I crossed the ocean. I just went for it. And yeah, all you need to to make a dream come true is just to believe in yourself. That's it.
Well, I could also see a TV show in your future, 23 different meals while at sea.
Okay, but I'm a vegetarian, so it wouldn't be that exciting.
You never know. If somebody wanted to follow what you're doing, where do they need to go?
Okay, so my Instagram is Wilderness of Waves. My website is wildernessofwaves.com. And then I also have a YouTube channel that's called Wilderness of Waves. And but I'm behind on the YouTube is I'm still in Fiji, so I'm trying to catch up with the long format.
In the wrap up, is there any last words that you'd like to say?
No, just I'm really excited to be partnering with Icom, and yeah, it's a real blessing, and I can't wait to expand my communication at sea.
Excellent. Well, Olivia, thank you very much for sharing how you got started. And we look forward to talking more with you about what you've got going on.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day, Ray.
You too. Thank you.